What's happening, everybody? Christian Pedersen here with Prep Insider. Thank you very much for checking in with us again. We've got another great student-athlete conversation coming up next. It's Colman Smith from Cathedral Catholic. He's committed to go play football at the University of Chicago. So without further ado, let's roll the tape and hashtag roll dawns. Thank you for being on the show, man. Nice to have you in here. You are committed to play football at the University of Chicago. Let's talk about that decision first. What was finally, academics and it's one of from my understanding, because I wasn't able to get in, it's a de facto Ivy League school type vibe. So congrats. But what was the final decision there?
Really just, the academics, you can't beat that. It was my best option academically. And really once recruiting kind of came around, it was pretty slow for me. I knew I was kind of on the fringe there. And when it came to, because I was looking more D1 and I wasn't getting as many opportunities for football. And then lacrosse wise, I was getting some looks, but not from schools I was really interested in. So when it came down to it, I was getting recruited by them and I got in and I went and visited. And once I visited, I knew I was going.
When you were at the University of Chicago getting your recruitment visit, how heavily do they push Jay Berwanger and his legacy as a Heisman Trophy winner as part of that program?
I think that's just one of their, first Heisman,
Well, because it's like a funny oddity.
They were in the Big Ten.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. They were like the first football team ever.
Have you seen the Heisman House commercial that features Jay Berwanger's ghost? Do you know the Heisman House? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
the Nissan Heisman. So,
I see all the time.
okay, so I'll send it to you, and I'll do my very, very poor job of describing it in 20 seconds. They're in the house, and it's Tebow and Steve Spurrier, the ball coach that wears the visor hats, and they're in the bathroom, doing their hair, just drying off and whatever, and the lights start flickering, and they're talking about how there's a ghost haunting it, and then someone pops in and is like, oh yeah, that's the ghost of Jay Berwanger, the first Heisman Trophy winner. And the lights start flickering on and off again. And you see on the mirror, it was written we were the biggest school in the country. And Spurrier looks up, he goes, Jay, you gotta let it go, buddy. You're not a football powerhouse.
Yeah.
But it's at the same time, you get a better education than a lot of people that were in the Big Ten and all that kind of stuff. You got an in-person visit though? Because I feel like that's kind of rare to some of the kids I talk to right now.
Well, it wasn't really because they don't have any admissions visits. They completely shut that down because of COVID. And really the coaches couldn't even help. They kind of sent me a self-guided one. And they just told me, you're going to meet a person here and then you're going to just do the whole thing. My dad is a good friend in Chicago. So he knew the whole campus super well, so he took us around too.
So it's you, your dad, and your dad's friend walking around with and your brother walking around with a sort of self-guided tour.
We're all on our phones, trying to figure out where to go.
It's just
the only thing open was the little campus store, so I grabbed a sweatshirt.
Okay, that's good. That's positive because there was definitely kids who were in last year's senior class, baseball players that were committing in spring. And they're I ordered my sweatshirt, online. Still, I have been committed to so-and-so college for 2 weeks and I don't have a single piece of gear. That's awesome, man. If you don't mind, I love taking opportunities to talk with kids who, like you said, you wanted to go big D1. Everyone gets into football or basketball or whatever it is to go big pro D1 type of thing. But you had the self-awareness to say, look, I have opportunities that I shouldn't waste. I need to make the moves that are best for my life. So if you wouldn't mind talking to some of the younger student athletes out there about, being responsible for yourself and making that decision of, hey, I cannot wait for an offer from USC or Ohio State. Because this isn't bad football. This isn't I'm settling on my dreams. I'm still winding up with a great path in life.
Yeah, so really, it just comes down to outside of San Diego, there's a lot more competition than you think. And, even if you're one of the best here, it doesn't mean anything, especially once you go to college. Competition-wise, it's a lot more difficult than people really make it out to be. Even San Diego, we have great football here, but it's not the same as like, LA, just, a couple hours up the road. But really, looking at it, life is a lot bigger than football. There's a lot more out there to it. You can, I still am playing and I'm super happy about it. But, if you have the opportunity to get such a great, degree from a huge or not huge university, but great university like that.
Metaphorically huge.
Yeah. Or maybe, walk on or go to a smaller D1 school, and you might not like the school. You might not get as good of a academic experience. You just have to weigh your options. And if you have the ability to do it, and just, listen to your heart.
Do you already know what you want to major in?
I'm thinking public policy or economics. I'm a big math guy, so.
Public policy doesn't necessarily seem math related, though. That seems more political career. No.
It's kind of that. Public policy is like a huge one for football guys because it's kind of like a broad. They're one of their more broad majors because it kind of has economics. It has public policy. It has statistics. It has some finance. So it has a bit of everything.
Okay, so what do you want to do with that then? I mean, every high school kid has a general plan or no plan. So I'm sorry for putting you on the spot, but what do you want? No? Deal.
I don't know. I'm just focused on. I got there. I don't know what I'm doing after. I'm just focused on getting there and seeing where it takes me.
Fair enough. That's what I did in college, and I wound up as an art major. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah. No, I mean something within business. I want to do business. I've also thought about coaching. Just because I love, football or lacrosse, either or.
Okay, so I do want to get to lacrosse eventually in this interview, so why not just get it to it now? I born and raised in San Diego. I was too young, or I guess I'm too old to have really enjoyed lacrosse. Like, it was just becoming a CIF sport when I was in high school. Didn't know enough about it to be like, oh my gosh, I want to go do. Regretted it for the rest of my life. Yeah. The concept of being a D pole or a long stick midi would have been my perfect Zen life. But I do have to ask every lacrosse player that I come across: are lacrosse goalies the most mentally unstable people in all of sports?
Oh my gosh, honestly, you will find some exactly like that, and you will find some that are just cooler than cool. Like one of my good friends from LCC. Actually, no, he gets pretty flustered sometimes. That's actually, I have not even ever thought about that.
Well, okay, so I got introduced to it because of the concept that, so I went to graduate school at Syracuse.
Yeah.
Lacrosse school.
Huge lacrosse.
But
that was actually my favorite school growing up.
Oh man. Yeah. And Jordan Allen currently going there.
Yeah.
Your Cathedral Catholic buddies. The goalies there, though, I always noticed were wearing shorts, and me being the uninitiated to lacrosse as I was coming from the West Coast, I thought there was like a girdle or pads or something underneath that they're like, okay, yeah, their shins aren't getting covered. But I was like, no, they're taking 90-mile-an-hour shots just like,
right.
And I'm like,
it's nothing.
I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Why? That seems... and then on the girls' side, yes, they do wear pads, but the shots come from even closer, and they move to it. And
even then, once you get to the higher level in girls lacrosse, they don't wear as really anything besides the basic stuff they have to wear. But like when girls are younger, they always wear the leg pads and everything.
Yeah. No, then it becomes like little teeny pads, and I'm thinking about when I was in.
No, it's funny that like the goalies like try and wear like the least amount of pads that they can. It's like
and that's okay. So that's where the genesis of this question has come. Is I talk to people and I'm like goalies specifically. And was it Hunter Binney that you were talking about? Your friend at LCC that?
Well, no, I'm good friends with Hunter too.
Because we had Hunter on the show last year, and he more or less confirmed my theory that goalies are that borderline association with reality. And the funny thing is, though, that goalies will admit it too. Like, I've had some of them on the show being like, you know what? It was just awesome, that first save that I got. I never looked back. And I'm like,
That's exactly what happens. Yeah.
And I'm like, but the instinct for me would be, I'm going to get out of the way of that. I guess that's why I didn't wind up as that good of a lacrosse player or football player or any athlete at all. And that's why I'm doing these interviews. What is it like, though, being a part of the Cathedral Catholic athletic culture? Because, I mean, multiple sports, multiple versions of different rivalries, but it feels like you guys, it's not like everybody that just plays football only plays football. Like, everybody's got their fingers in a couple of teams. The competitive excellence seems like you can't go a day without, you know, oh, I'm locked up against this great guy in football or this great, lacrosse player. So what's it been like for the last 4 years?
Yeah, really, there's so many great athletes that go through Cathedral. That's what really, I mean, we pull from everywhere, and that helps. Obviously, you get so many of the kids that go to Catholic schools growing up all over San Diego, and then you get kids that, you know, they think it's a great academic school, or just because of the athletics. You know, we've been so successful, and once we've built the resume of like, we're such a powerful program in all of our sports. That kids just want to go, and we kind of just get kids are just feeding into the school. Really though, the community behind the like athletics program is what makes it so special. Just the amount of support, and people from other sports that don't even like have kids on the team will come out to the games, and just like, it's such a family, and it's great to see. I mean, really, the first time I noticed it, how much of a following like Cathedral has, just because of all the alumni and everything, was this 2018. It was my sophomore year. I was pulled up to varsity for football. We won that CIF championship against Torrey Pines. We showed up to the game at Southwestern like 3 or 4 hours early. There's just a crowd of Cathedral people, parents, everybody. Like, I thought I was like at like a college or NFL game. Like, the amount of people that were just going through. We're just walking in the stadium. They're going crazy. I'm like, geez, the amount of people that, you know, are so bought into it. It's
that game was
crazy.
banging on both sides.
It was. That was probably one of the funnest. That in Narbonne.
Oh, okay. So that was going to be my natural transition. I have to ask, where were you for the play against Narbonne? Like, where? Like, what?
I couldn't even see it. I couldn't even see it. Like, we had this guy who was like sideline monitor, who was pushing us up, because everyone, like, we were going crazy that whole game, especially just like with all the kids that are pulled up. Like, it's freezing out there. You're just sitting on the sideline. Everyone's just going crazy. So like a lot of us couldn't even see the play. We just heard everyone go wild, and we just started celebrating.
So you have no idea of it actually happening in real time. You just see everyone else freak out, and you're like,
I saw the play. I saw the wheel route he was going out for, and I was like, doesn't look good. And then, I mean, Jalen just made that play on it. It was a great play.
I was 3 feet from it, and I dropped my
I know there's this line of guys right
I
there.
dropped my camera because I was so shocked that he made the play. I was like, I like legit celebrated, and then
right on the sideline,
and then seeing them run into the Los Locos. What has that been like to be, you know, cheered for by that fan group that shows up with pyrotechnics and a video editing crew? And I mean, that has to be pretty cool.
Since that year we went to state, we've gotten so much more support. Like, honestly, in the past, we've kind of been known for having not a bad student section, but like, they always leave after halftime, or they're kind of lazy with the chants. I mean, you go look at Saints, like, they practice their chants at lunch. That is
a startling admission that you're willing to cite Saints as the.
I know.
If you want me to go back and scrub that out, I can. I'm just kidding.
No. I'm just saying, like, I'm saying in the past, since we went to state, and the amount of you know hype we got from that, and last year we got I don't know who donated, but somebody like thought the Los Locos was so cool that they just made it like donate. I don't even know. And that's how we got like some of that gear. And we have a kid who's big into that stuff, and he had his own. So then they kind of just worked with it, and it took off. And I mean, you've seen the videos on Sports Center, like, it's insane. Yeah. No, it's and that was honestly those were some of the funnest times of high school, was just after the game going and dancing and singing with Los Locos, especially after those Centennial and Saguaro wins last year. I was gonna say, you had plenty of wins. It also helps to have like historically big wins to celebrate, and not just like, oh, we scrubbed another non-conference team by 90 points, but like, we're taking down top 10 teams in the state left and right. Whatever, no big. It's crazy. Oh, yeah, it's all crazy.
I watched some of your highlight footage coming into this, and it seems like you maximized what you could out of being a wide receiver at Cathedral, given that it's a pretty run-heavy team.
Yeah.
I am curious, though, with all the quarterbacking talent that Cathedral has had in the last couple of years, could you guys have thrown for like 10,000 yards a season? If realistically, like, you cut that squad loose and you like ran a 5-wide West Coast vibe, do you think you could have?
We talk about that all the time. Never with the coaches, just the players.
Obviously, because Coach Doyle scares everybody.
Because me and DJ are good friends, and we still. I mean, I've been injured for the past little bit now, but I would throw with him all the time, and we always talk about that. How if we could just, if they could just let loose for even one game, just to see what would happen, because we have so much talent. I mean, especially this year, if we end up getting a season, which I'm hoping we will. Rex Haynes, Harry Balke, Derek Wu, just receiver wise, and then our backs: Christian Hall, Lucky Sutton.
Well, the thing is, you've always had the backs.
Jack Kilpatrick. I mean, I don't know if you know Jack, but he's a baller.
And so, from my perspective, I'm looking at this like kind of all the way back to Sean Poma. Like, you've had the backs, but you've also had, since Poma, you had like Zion Serrani, like you had some sort of like signature wide receiver depth at the same time that everyone's like, oh yeah, that guy got, the check stats, 3 touchdowns and 85 yards that season. And you're like, wait, why? You're like, oh, because they ran for 97 touchdowns and they were always up big and they always ran the ball and the clock was gone.
Yeah. I mean,
so you're saying without a doubt best passing offense in the section. Would you be best passing offense in the state if given a real run and gun 5 wide, just you were able to air it out all season?
There's some pretty good team. Even Lincoln now, all the transfers they got. I mean, I think
nobody transfers. What? No, what?
I'm just saying, like.
No, I feel you.
I don't know how you compete with. I mean, we have great players, but I mean,
well, you suit up and you compete.
Every position.
Yeah, you suit up and you compete. And then,
no, I'm not scared of competition. I know they have good kids, but I mean, some of the teams in LA. I mean, Folsom. Watching them play, they're talented.
You had to pick the one that ended your state title run a couple years ago, didn't you? That's how you know this kid cares. Is that you probably weren't even on that team?
Yeah,
that lost to Folsom.
I was there.
Oh, you were there. You got pulled up at that point.
Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so sad.
You got to love that intensity. Kind of a open-ended, little bit of a bummer question, but I do have to ask everybody that comes on because you guys are a pretty unique generation in terms of.
Yeah.
No one else has done distance learning since 1917. What's this whole, this whole experience maybe is too much to ask, but through the lens of at least a student athlete, what has the last year of your life been like?
Honestly, I think it's been super helpful to me because I actually was I was injured in a car accident last December. And then, so I was rehabbing up until lacrosse. Lacrosse started, and I was barely healthy. I was barely playing. Like, I just started running at the beginning of the season. And then as the season got stopped, and I was like, geez, this is like the worst, these are unfortunate events that just keep on stacking up. And then I kind of realized how, like, it honestly was a blessing for me because I just got to rehab and get stronger because my legs were super weak. And so from there, I mean, school, second semester, it was a bad layout. And even like, we were lucky because we had school. Like, one of my cousins who goes to Coronado, or he actually transferred to Cathedral, but they didn't have school the rest of the year once it got shut down. And I know a lot of public schools, it was like a pretty tough go, but, we were able to, finish the year off, and we started this year in hybrid. So that has been great. Great experience so far. Even though I'm going 2 days a week, it's better than nothing. And as you know, I think I've realized how much time you have in a day, just because there's so much to do now. I mean, I'm not like, I don't have football practice every day. I don't have there's so much things I can do and fit in my schedule, especially this past summer. I was doing a ton of stuff this past summer. I mean, just from work, I'm like, from a workouts perspective, like the amount of times I was able to just, like, I wasn't doing anything because there's nowhere to go and we're shut down. I could just go work out again. So
appreciate you sharing that with us. I do think it's interesting that the answers really have run the gambit from a lot of people at one end, just, I hate it, I need to see everybody, to people at the other end being like, I realized I might have not liked as many people at high school as I thought I did. And as long as I got my core friends and sports back, this isn't the worst. I will be interested what happens permanently, because I do think some kids like and do better through this hybrid distance learning type vibe. And I'll be, hey, like, I don't know, but I feel like for some kids, it'll be interesting to see, hey, look, I can get more done, get better grades, all that, if I'm only doing 2 or 3 days a week. But, knock on wood, fingers crossed, we want everyone back to normal.
Yeah, I just want to be back to normal.
For prom, for football, for anything and everything in between. I'm sure you guys want one more Holy Bowl. If that football season does not happen, what do you give the odds that you and Saints just meet up in a parking lot somewhere and, have the Holy Bowl unofficially?
I'm going to give a 90% chance.
Deal. Yeah, no, I like the opportunities of, but then also
that's funny that you said that, because we were just talking about it the other day. Like, we might just meet up somewhere, not just Saints, but just any team, and just run it back.
Well, and I like the visual now in my head of Coach Kramer and Coach Doyle show up, like, with, like, the sunglasses and the mustache on, so that they can be kind of low key coaching it. They're like kind of doing the look, like, from the parking lot, they're phoning in the signs, so that they're not super responsible and culpable. But and then the cops come, you guys all just dart. The
amount of times that it's already happened, not at, like, a full game, but workout, cops come, just get out of there as fast as you can.
That's the new workout is hang out until the cops get called for a public health violation, and then everybody dip as you put on your Saints mask and your Lincoln shirt. Hey, we're all having fun here. We're all having fun here. No one's trying to get anybody in trouble unless it counts towards league wins and a CIF championship. We're talking to Colman Smith, Cathedral Catholic student athlete who is committed to go play at the University of Chicago next year. I will close out on this note and just, I will say thank you. I will say we are keeping fingers crossed and everything like that for a season. If you don't get football, are we still going to see you in lacrosse, or do you think you will take spring to get ready for football in college?
No, you'll see me in lacrosse if I have the chance to play lacrosse. 100%.
Deal.
Deal. There's no doubt. The problem is just, if we get both, I don't know how it's going to work playing both. Because right now, from what I'm hearing, is that everything's going to be so close. I don't think we're going to be able to, I think we're just going to have to choose one. So if that happens, I'm choosing football.
I mean, yeah.
But, yeah.
No duh. Optimistically, I say it'll be good to have that choice. More realistically, I say I have to be the bearer of bad news and say football is less likely to happen than lacrosse season is to happen. But hey, who knows? Stay-at-home orders are getting lifted. Case numbers are going down. I'm glad, though, that we will at least see you with one sport this season. So, folks, you can go check out Colman this year, hopefully doing something for the Dons. If not, he's one of the numerous student athletes you need to support at the next level, because he will be repping San Diego very, very well. Thank you very much for letting us take up a bunch of your day. You have a great rest of your day. Is Roll Dons still a thing?
Always.
Okay, deal. Then we'll end with a hashtag Roll Dons, and we will say see you next time.
Thank you for having me.